He often drove drunk. Tony was arrested for drunk driving. He was forced to sober up in a cell while his family looked for bail. Drinking became the most important thing in Tony's life. He felt depressed and isolated. Tony's dark side took almost total control over his life. He was dominated by self-pity. Why did this happen to me? He would moan. At one time, his friend, the bottle, would make him feel good when he was down. Now it just made him feel numb. He was overwhelmed by guilt and stymied by low self-esteem. Tony swore after each drink that it would be his last. "I'll quit tomorrow," he said. Tony tried to quit, but each time he did, he felt depressed, irritable, and angry. He started using alcohol as medicine. He drank just to feel normal. "I can't be an alcoholic," he told himself. "Alcoholics are bums. I work every day." Well, almost every day. The dark side of Tony's personality had taken control of his life. The emotional and physical pain was so overwhelming that Tony wanted to commit suicide. He wanted to do anything to free himself from his dark side. One morning, Tony had a dizzy spell and fainted after drinking his usual double Bloody Mary breakfast. For the first time, Tony was frightened enough to seek medical help. Dr. Johnson conducted some medical tests and discussed the results with Tony and his wife. He explained that Tony's liver was damaged by excessive drinking. Dr. Johnson also explained that alcoholism was a disease. Some people are lucky, he said. They can drink socially over a lifetime without any ill effects, while others become compulsive drinkers. Research indicated, the doctor continued, that if a person has a family history of alcoholism, he has a much higher risk of becoming an alcoholic himself. Dr. Johnson warned Tony of the health consequences if he continued to drink. With Dr. Johnson's warning fresh in his mind, Tony went to his personnel director at work to find out if his health insurance plan covered alcohol-related problems. The personnel director explained that his company, as well as most other companies, had an employee assistance program for alcohol and drug-related problems. She also explained the different kinds of assistance available under outpatient and inpatient recovery programs. The personnel director told Tony that alcohol information and treatment centers can be found in the Yellow Pages. She also explained that veterans might be able to get help from the Veterans Administration Hospital's drug and alcohol treatment programs. Another source of help is the mental health clinics, which are also listed in the Yellow Pages. Tony was never able to make the call for help. He was sure he could solve his drinking problem on his own. It was Tony's wife who finally had the courage to make the call. She found the number for the National Council on Alcoholism in the White Pages and spoke to one of its volunteers. She was given the name of an intervention counselor in her area. Tony's wife spoke to a trained counselor. The counselor asked her to have Tony's supervisors and all close family members and friends meet to confront Tony with his drinking problem. Denial is a component of alcoholism, the counselor explained. Therefore, intervention by family and friends may be needed to convince Tony that he needs treatment. The purpose of an intervention, he said, is to present reality to Tony and break his defenses. Only then will he be willing to go into treatment. A trained counselor conducted the intervention. Tony's supervisor, friends, and family discussed the effects of his alcoholism on their lives, while Tony sat silently. The confrontation was conducted in a non-threatening and loving manner. "Tony, it's time to be honest with yourself," the counselor said. "Changing involves letting go of destructive habits. It takes courage to change, and it can be frightening and painful, but when you have suffered enough, it's time to try something new. Recovery is moving from darkness into light."